we're giving our viewpoints of Archeos Society. Welcome to Tainter Mouse Studio 3. I'm Kevin.
I'm Melissa.
I'm Will.
I'm Sarah.
And I'm Psychic Larry, and today we're doing a Viewpoints of Archeos Society by Space Cowboys. Melissa, tell us a little bit about it.
Archeos Society is for 2 to 6 players and takes about an hour to play. It's designed by Paolo Mori and published by Space Cowboys. They sent us this copy for review. In the game, you're recruiting explorers to go on expeditions to legendary sites. On your turn, you either draw a card or play cards to go on an expedition. The cards you play have to be a set of the same color or the same role. The card you choose as the leader of your expedition gives you a special ability and determines which region you explore. The region tracks have requirements for expedition size, points values for certain spaces, and on the advanced side, additional benefits, requirements, or scoring opportunities. Any cards left in your hand after you play an expedition set are returned to the face-up market where other players can recruit them. Once 3 monkey idols are revealed from the deck, the round ends and the expeditions are scored. The game is played for 3 rounds, and whoever has the most points at the end wins.
Alright, so I just had my first run-through of Archeos Society. I know several of you guys have played it more times. What are the categories we're breaking it down into, Kevin?
First, comparison to Ethnos. We're doing likes, then dislikes, and then our final thoughts. So why are we comparing this to a game that's been out for a long time?
So it's by the same designer, and it's basically a re-implementation of Ethnos, but it is not just a reskin. There are some things that are similar and some things that are definitely different in this game.
The big thing that's similar is the mechanic of drawing a card or playing a set of cards. That's very similar to that.
Yeah. And as you play the set, anything left in your hand has to be discarded to the market.
And the other thing that's similar is the factions are similar in the sense that there's different fantasy factions in Ethnos that have powers that you have powers in Archeos Society. So similarities there.
But they're not fantasy. They are people.
Leaders, and there's a lot of differences.
So I think one of the biggest differences is that there isn't majority scoring for the most part. In Ethnos, it was a map and you were stacking your little colored tokens on it, and then you would score the regions based on your influence there. This one, you are going up tracks and you're going to score based on how far you've gone up that track. And for a lot of them, it doesn't matter what the other players have done. There are a few advanced sides or special factions, though, that do add some majority scoring.
Anything else comparison-wise? You guys remember Ethnos? It's been a while.
Right, it's definitely been a while since I played it. If you hadn't told me that they were similar, it would have never crossed my mind. They feel like very different games.
Very different games.
Yeah. Other than some, maybe you can see a little bit of the designer's fingerprints and some of the things that he appreciates. It's a very different game, for sure.
All right.
I actually thought that it felt a little more, like if you hadn't said Ethnos, I wouldn't have thought of it, but I thought it felt like Red Rising, where you're playing cards, they all have powers, you're basing it on icons and colors of the cards. I felt this was much easier and more intuitive to play than Red Rising.
So Red Rising is more like...
You're building you're crafting a hand of cards. This one,
the WizKids game.
Oh, Fantasy Realms.
Fantasy Realms. So Red Rising is a more advanced fantasy realms.
Yeah.
But I saw some similarities when I was playing.
I can see it. And if you do like Red Rising, then this
you might
game
want to check
makes
this
good
one
sense as another twist on that idea a little bit.
All right, well, let's move to our likes.
Anybody like anything about this game?
It's terrible.
Like I said, I've only played it once, so my experience is a little limited. I did enjoy the tension of the monkeys. I thought that was a great, anytime you kind of know the end is coming, but you don't really know when it's coming, I like that little bit of, should I push my luck one more time and draw another card, or do I play what I got and hope for points?
Okay.
I also enjoyed the table presence to it. It's not like a super gorgeous game, but the fact that you're flipping the things and you've got some replayability in that, the fact that you've got your scoreboard, that everybody's got their little pieces, I thought aesthetically I enjoyed all of it. Did you have one nitpick when we get to the dislike?
I think one of the things that I really like or the things that work for this game is the variability. Like you said, the tracks you can flip over and play different size. There are a bunch of different factions or cards that you can add to the deck. Being able to play it over and over in different ways definitely makes it more interesting to play. Also, it's not super hard to learn. Like, you can pick this up in probably 5-10 minutes teach, if that. Once you go over the tracks, that's about it. You know that you're just drawing a card or playing your set. You're just matching colors or matching symbols. And so once you know the icons on there, you're ready to go. So that's really good. So you can just jump in, like, in between. It's kind of a filler game, but a little bit more strategy than filler.
I was able to introduce this at community game night a few weeks ago and played it with basically everyone had never played it before. And like Larry was saying, like, this was very easy for them to understand. I mean, the actions are either draw a card or play cards from your hand. So it's not like you have this really like in-depth like thinking going on. I mean, there's in-depth thinking,
I was like,
but it's not like, where am I going to place my meeple, or I have this long-term strategy and stuff like that.
So there's limited choice. There are choices, but they're limited choices. I like the fact that it goes up to 6 players, so you can play with a larger group, and I don't feel like the turns are very long, so it's not like adding extra people are going to add like an hour to your game or anything like that. So it's still pretty quick. And then also what Larry was saying about the variability, we've tried different factions, different people, and the games sometimes feel very different depending on who's in the game or not having certain powers. We found at least one combination that we didn't like, and we're like, oh, we're never putting those 3 together again.
I really like just going up the tracks. Like, oh, I'm looking for this color or this thing because I really want to go up
I like
there.
that the tracks aren't even.
Right.
They're very different. Some of them you don't get any points until you're really far on the track. Some of them give you benefits instead of points. So I like the variability of the tracks.
Mechanic-wise, this gives me 2 big thumbs up. Are we any more likes, or should we go to this?
I also liked the tension, especially towards the end of, I'm really trying to get this set. There is also a limit, a hand limit of 10.
That's true.
So if you don't get what you need, you either just try and lay something that may not move a track, but it might give you points for a set at the end of the round. Otherwise, you're giving up a lot of cards to everybody else, and if you leave good cards out, you're just giving everybody else points. So trying to balance, do I draw some more and hope to get something really good, or maybe I see Will's got a lot of cards, he's gonna have to trash some, maybe he'll trash something really good.
Or steal the cards that I want instead.
Oh, yeah.
I have a question about player counts. You said that more players don't really add a ton of time to it because it is quick turns.
Yep.
I've only played it with 5.
Yeah.
What were there differences in experience between different player counts?
Yeah, I mean, the lower player count, you're playing fewer rounds, so we played 3 rounds, you're playing fewer rounds, but because you're only playing, if you're playing a 2 or 3 player game, that deck doesn't change.
You're not going to get through it.
You're not going to get through it as fast.
You're still going through the entire deck to get your 3 monkeys.
You got 3 monkeys. Yep, looking for 3 monkeys.
So it's going to take a longer round because you're playing more
rounds
cards.
Are a little longer. And I didn't feel
more turns.
Yeah, definitely with more turns, but it doesn't feel like the length of the game is that much different.
Because you're still going through the same number of cards.
Yeah. Actually, personally, I like it at the higher player count because number one, you have more cards out in that market.
And visible too.
Yeah, and I did feel that was one of the detriments. Not that it's a dislike, but it's just something you need to be aware of, that fewer cards with fewer players are coming out, because even if
less to choose from, less to match.
say like, Will, you discard some cards and then Larry plays discard some. Well, there's only going to be like 5. But we've had a turn or a round where it's like, I'm discarding 5. I'm discarding 5. There's like 20 cards out in the market.
I was like, which one do I want? I had so many choices. Yeah, that was neat. All right, so dislikes.
Yes.
I'll start off.
Go for it, Will.
This is the most whitey thing ever. The token colors for players, fine. I like them, like the metallic tones. Why did they make the hot air balloon, which could have been any color, why did they make it brown? Why does it look like a chicken leg? What is that?
It does look like a turkey leg.
Drumstick? Any other color, I wouldn't have immediately thought drumstick.
Okay.
That was just a goofy, funny
The
thing.
colors are basic. It's like black, white, brown, tan, and
Silver or something.
silver or something.
Yeah, they looked okay. I liked the look of them, but pick any other color for the chicken leg.
I would have switched the gray and made the hot air balloon gray.
White hot air balloon.
And the truck could have been brown.
Sure.
But
Speaking
yes,
of the
we
tokens.
just went by
Okay.
character.
Speaking of the tokens, they should have made the Jeep windshield higher so you know which side is the right
Oh, Larry
side.
kept flipping my Jeep upside down.
Oh, rack on
It's okay.
the track.
No, one of the things that I kind of disliked is some of the different cards or factions in the set are they're not bad actions or things, but they're not as satisfying, I guess, when you play them. It's kind of like, well, I just have this person. Some of the combinations of factions you can play, and you can get up tracks, and you can make combos that are pretty nice, and they feel good when you do them. But there's some of the cards are kind of like,
I agree with that a little bit. Like, I wasn't really paying attention to the powers on the cards as much as just going up the tracks for the first couple rounds. And I look over and Melissa's like, I got the teacher with the extra cards and the books and the points over here. And then Larry's like, I'm the botanist and I'm getting extra points every turn. And I'm like, shoot, why am I playing the explorer guy? I'm like, this is not helping me out any. You guys are having great turns.
Will's playing a group of students and you don't go up any tracks.
Exactly. They match the symbols. I don't know.
I personally think that this is definitely better at the mechanic level than the theme level. There's definitely theme in the game, but I don't feel like it's that strong, so it is a dislike for me. I feel like I wish there was more to the theme.
I appreciate that they worked hard to put a theme on a game that is all about mechanics. I agree. Like, I don't really care that this is the photographer card that I'm playing. The photographer power captures something, okay, maybe it makes some sense, but I'm really just looking at it's pink and it has a camera thing in the corner.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, I do think a few of the characters are pretty thematic. Like the doctor is your saving cards from your hand, so you don't have to discard them.
Why does the botanist give you points?
I don't know. Maybe he's cataloging things.
Points for you.
I said some of them.
Right.
Some
I
of
appreciate
them.
that they did try it, because some of them do make good sense.
There's a curator, which has little idols that you're collecting.
Artifacts.
Artifacts that you're collecting. So there is some theme going on, but I just feel it's very light theme, which I'm okay with. This was my favorite game that I played in June, and you can look at that video if you want to on our channel. I've played this game 5 or 6 times now at multiple player counts, and I've enjoyed every single time I played, because I like to be like, oh, let's do these 6 different characters, and we played with a new one I had never played with tonight, and I really enjoyed what that one did.
Yeah, dislikes were very low. I mean, they're nitpicking the color of the drumstick. I really did enjoy the experience. I felt like it played very smooth. Other than my own confusions over color association, icon association, and power, everything in the game made good sense.
That's my final thoughts. I think introducing this to players, they understand what you're doing, but then figuring out the best way to win to your strategy is we'll get confused a little bit of I'm playing this, but I wanted to go, but I want this, power. So it's trying to connect all those. It does take a little bit more because the powers plus the tracks sort of combine together.
Right. And I would say also, I assumed that the game would be pretty luck heavy and am I getting the card off the top that actually I want to match everything else in my hand? But I didn't feel like it was luck heavy 3/4 of the way into the game. I was like, oh, it is making the best of what you've got. Yeah. Trying to wait and hold out as long as you can, rather than just I hope I get a good card. Oh, didn't. Didn't feel like that. I was glad.
Yeah, you can't card count, but you could see, everybody else has a set of green. I'm probably not getting
more green
enough.
cards.
There's
4
probably
greens
not
to go to the next
another.
level.
Yeah, I need 4 to even advance on the track.
Yep.
I'm probably not getting that. We're almost at the end. Or looking at what's at the market. If you're playing a higher player count that has lots of people have played a expedition recently, and there's lots of stuff in the market, you can kind of count there's already 5 gold cards out. Maybe I should work on one of those sets instead of red when there's only 2 red out. So
you've got a lot of information.
Yeah, there is
from.
information to work with. It's not just blindly drawing a card off the deck.
So Will had mentioned tension on the monkey idols. I think there's also a little bit of tension in the market because people are not only getting the colors you're doing, but also if someone takes that last card, then you get to draw 2 off the deck. And people are like, you should just take that last one. just take it. You want that one because you want that benefit of drawing 2 blind cards, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it is when you're usually only drawing 1 blind card. So.
Right, and there's also the tension of I don't even want the card that's out there, but I'm only gonna draw 1 blind card. So should I just take it to? Yeah, there were some good moments for sure.
Yeah, I always enjoy games that have kind of those tense choices. Again, it's not super complex, but say you have 6 or 7 cards in your hand and 3 work for this set and like 3 or 4 work for this set, and you know when you play one of the sets, the rest of them are going away. So it's that kind of changing your mind of, oh, these are all my cards and I'm gonna collect a little of this and collect a little of that. And then it's like, oh no, once I play this, everything else is gone. So other people get the opportunities to take those. So there are sometimes those hard decisions of which set do you go for, especially if you have multiple directions you could go with your hand.
I really like Ethnos. I like an area majority or influence games, but to me, because of how much I like this game, I'll probably, if someone said which one you want to choose, I would probably choose Archeos Society over Ethnos almost every time, even though I have Ethnos on our shelf.
Me too, and that's mainly because I don't like area majority scoring.
Like Ethnos
I would rather
at all.
just be able to go up my tracks and not worry about the other players. Although, I think I said earlier, there are some factions and some boards that bring in a little bit of that scoring, but it's not the entire game like Ethnos was.
Yeah, if you enjoy games of this sort, then definitely check out Archeos Society from Space Cowboys. If you have any questions about the game, or if you've played Ethnos and you have thoughts, we'd love to hear them. And we'd also love to hear if you've played this game, what are your thoughts? Did we leave anything out? Be sure to comment and leave us your questions. We'll be happy to reply, and we'll catch you guys in the next video.